In this video, I'm going to create a bill of material at the functional location level. So that's transaction code IB11. And I'll use the functional location for a building. Now the plant is where I'm creating the BOM, is the plant I'm using for New York. And the BOM usage is for plant maintenance. For all my examples, I'll focus in on plant maintenance, but you'll see there's all the other types in our training client. Okay, so that's our default. I have that set in my PIDs. Valid from date is when I want this BOM to be available. Some people backdate it. So if you have orders that you want to use this BOM in right away, and those orders may be a couple of months old, you might backdate it a couple of months. So and this can be set by default to be the year 1900 in configuration, but typically it's set to current date. So I can backdate it a year if I like. Some people, when they create a BOM, they go and look at it, and if they don't refresh, or they, if their IH01 isn't showing current date, they're not going to see their changes. So there's a few other things that need to be taken account of. So I'll have that as my default and green check. It's just going to have a standalone functional location BOM. So now these are the rows where I can create, put the materials in. And the row numbers are arbitrary. You can play around with those. That's why they skip by 10. In case you want to insert one in the middle, you just change a number to 15 or whatever after the fact. So item category, in this drop-down, it shows you what you're allowed to put into a BOM. Now, your business process may say they don't want you to put documents or into a BOM, or they may want it to be inside a folder, like an assembly. So all the documents are kept separate from spare parts or consumables. So what I'm be doing is just a stock item. So that's L for stock item, N is for non-stock. And even though you put it stock, if they change material masters to make that item a non-stock item, it won't update in the BOMs. But when you go to buy it in a work order, automatically that puts in the correct parameter. Now, if I know the material number, the component number, I can just put it in, or I can use the search. Now, some companies have different search engines that they recommend, they prefer. They may have added some, like custom ones. And this icon will show you all your search engines. I like the default one to be plant maintenance by description, unless I'm using an add-on. And you notice I have a favorite list. It comes up with a list of my favorites. So you can have your favorite list with the yellow star button to create favorites. And if I want to do a search, I just use the triangle and search for what I want. So say I want to put one of these favorites into the BOM, I just double click on, like say power cleaner, and just double click on that, and it puts it into the component field right here. Now the reason why, if I want to do multiple materials, I could pin this window to the screen with that pin button. So when I double click that, it puts the material number, and I could say the quantity of that typically they purchase is 1. And then I'll do the next row. So that's what pinning does. It keeps this on your screen. I want some glass cleaner in there. And typically they buy 3 every time they buy. So I'm just making a consumable BOM as an example. Now if I want to search, I hit this button, that triangle, and it can search. So if I'm looking for, say, tape. So I want the first word to be tape, so it goes tape star. Because if I did star tape star, it would find like tapered bearings and so on. So say I wanted this one. Okay, so how much of this I want? I want one of those. And it's a L also. The units of measure, you notice I didn't put that in. I usually let the material put that in, so I don't have to think about it. How it's sold, by the liter, by the ton, by the gallon, by the each, it automatically comes in from the material master. The sort string, we'll talk about sorting later, but sort string is if you want to force a sort order, not by alphabetical, but by some other arrangement. You can put in here numerical, like 0, 1, 0, 2, or you can do A, B, C, D, depending on how many items you have. You shouldn't have more than 26, so A, B, C, D is fine. And then we'll talk about how to sort that. So a simple BOM is just of 3 items. When I hit save, that BOM is now created with those 3 items. So if we want to change that BOM, I just go functional location change, which is IB12, and then I can hit the enter key to go in to make changes to the BOM. So it's typical SAP. The 1 is for create, 2 is for change, and 3 is for display. So IB11 to IB12, IB13. So I want to see what this BOM looks like. And in IH01, if I bring up this structure, I have to make sure that the date is current date, not stuck in the past. Otherwise, you're not going to see your current BOM changes. So make sure that's current date, and if it's not, then you need to change your variant to be current date, like dynamic date, in your settings and when you save your variant for IH01. So I'm going to execute that. And if you are already looking at the structure, when you make the change, you have to get out and go back in or hit the refresh button to update those changes. So you don't see them right away. And I know my change has taken effect because I look at that building and there's a triangle telling me there's something inside that building. And the only thing inside there is my BOMs, my bill of materials. And that's it. That's covering IB11, creating a functional location BOM. That's that topic.